Hello and welcome to my creative space. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Welcome to another DIY video. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe and join this creative squad. Today's video is really exciting, so let's jump right in. For DIY number one, I'm using this Dollar Tree sign, this Dollar Tree wreath, some greenery as well from Dollar Tree, a bag of lemons that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and some white paint. Okay, I'm going to start by painting my wreath with this acrylic white paint, and I'm gonna try to get everywhere, but you know, the little spaces are hard to get to. Okay, now I'm taking this sign, and I really love this sign the way it is, but I want this for my front door, and I just want this to say welcome, and that's why I'm doing all this, but feel free to use it as is. Now, once I remove the staples, I sand it down because the staples kind of pull back a little bit of that material, and I want this to be a smooth surface. And I'm going to be taking this green paint from Waverly. It's chalk paint, and I really like this color, and I'm going to be using to paint this sign. I also get on the edges of this sign to make sure everything's covered up, and the color is in my description box. Okay, now I want to cover the words that this has on the back, so I'm using this crafting paper to do that. Now you can paint it or you can leave it as is, but I'm going to be using this crafting paper to make sure I cover up, and you know, even though it's gonna be hanging, I still know it's there, so I want to make sure that it looks finished, so I'm going to be doing that. Once I finish adding the crafting paper, I am going to move on to adding the word welcome on it, and I printed this with my best friend's Cricut machine. She let me borrow it. If you don't know that, she's so awesome, but she let me borrow her machine, and I've been doing a lot of projects, so this can be very handy. Now you could use the Dollar Tree stickers if you don't have a Cricut machine, which I've done a lot of times, but this is what I did for this one. Now I'm going to take this greenery and I'm going to cut all the stems off. I like doing this because I feel like it gives me more control when I'm adding them onto stuff. So that's what I do that. Once I did that, I started adding them onto the wreath. And I'm going to be placing the sign right on top just to see how everything will look. And nothing is glued yet. I'm just adding it and seeing where I like it and if I like it or not. Now I wanted to add this other greenery, which I really love because it has that yellow color on it, and then it's like ashy. I don't know, I just really love this. But I was gonna add it how it was, but I didn't like it, so I ended up cutting those individually as well, and then I just started arranging them on there as well. Now I am going to be adding hot glue now that they're on there. Feel free to take them off and add them and, you know, add glue, but this is the way I like to do it because that way I don't move anything, you know. Okay, now it's time to add a bow. I did this one off camera and I didn't record it because my technique hasn't changed, so I didn't think you wanted to see it. But if you want me to include those all the time, let me know and I will make sure I do that for my next videos. Now it's time to add some lemons, and the way I did it is by finding the stems, which, you know, it's wired, so I just found the end of it and I pushed the lemon in there. On the first one I added hot glue, but I don't think it's necessary, but you know, you do you. And the little ones, I just glued them on the little greenery because they're not that heavy. And then I'm just going to be gluing the sign onto the wreath. Now all is left is to create a hanger, and for mine I decided to take a piece of burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and just glue the two ends together, and that creates a perfect hanger. And here is the end result. I love how this wreath turned out. Definitely my favorite. Let me know what you think. Hey there, creative squad. If you didn't already know that, today's video is a collab with Meagan, the Crafty Quinn. I've known her for a while and I really love what she does. She is very talented and has a lot of amazing DIYs. Make sure you check out her channel as well as our video collab today. The link will be in my description box. Go check it out. Go leave a comment. Tell her that you are part of Wendy's creative squad and just say hi. Also, if you are coming from Meagan's channel, welcome. My name is Wendy and I will love for you to consider to subscribe and join this creative squad. Now, thank you so much for watching. Let's continue on to the next DIY. For my next DIY, I'm using one of the Dollar Tree cutting boards. This one is old. I was gonna throw it away, but I was like, I could use it for a DIY, and here we are. Yay! Okay, so my original idea was to just paint this cutting board, but what happened is that once the first layer dried, the paint started coming off, so I had to switch plans. Okay, so I switched to using this crafting paper that I picked up from Hobby Lobby and happened to have lemons on it, which I thought it was really pretty, and I'm going to be using that to cover up this board instead. And I start by gluing it at the bottom, trying to make sure that it's even, and then I am going to be cutting off the corners. Now you could not cut them and it'll be fine, but for me it was gonna be too bulky, so that's why I did it. Okay, now I'm taking a pencil and kind of just marking where I'm going to be cutting, because I want these to be smaller to be able to glue them. And once I cut that off, I started cutting small pieces onto the sides to be able to glue that down, because otherwise it wasn't going to happen, and because it's curved. And once I did that, I started gluing it, and then I proceeded to glue the side as well. And now it's looking a lot better. Now I will continue to glue the other pieces as well, and once I am done doing that, I will continue on the other side off camera. Okay, so here is what the cutting board looks like now, and as you can see, we're missing a piece on the top, so I'm going to be tracing that and cutting that down as well. Once I have it, I'll glue it into the top of the cutting board, and I'll turn it around and cut it into small pieces to be able to glue them down, just how we did that other curve. And once I am done covering this completely, we are moving on to covering the back. Now you could use the exact same paper, but I wanted to do this yellow just to save that lemon craft paper for a future project. So I grabbed that yellow paper I had and traced the cutting board, and then I just cut it off. Once I had it, I glue it onto the back of the cutting board to cover that up. And I will also be cutting a smaller piece to cover the top, or you can leave it how it is if you want to hang it, but I want to cover mine up, so there it is. Now I cut this sign on the Cricut machine using some vinyl, and I love what this says, so I'm going to be adding this into the cutting board. And yeah, once I have it, this is what it looks like. Now I want to add a cute bow onto my sign, and I end up adding this cute lemon in the middle. And yeah, the bow was really simple. I tie it how you would tie your shoes, and then I just dovetail the ends, and that completes that bow. And I just added a little stem for my little lemon, and that completes this project. I love how this turned out. Can't wait to hang it in my kitchen. Let me know what you think. For my next project, I'm using these circles that I picked up from Dollar Tree. On the back, it says that they are wreath charms. And I'm also going to be using yellow, green, and white paint in this half of a lemon stencil. I'm going to start by removing the little stickers on the back, and I will proceed to grabbing my sanding sponge and sanding the back just to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Now I'm taking the spackling and filling in the little holes that these have. Next, I will be grabbing my acrylic white paint, and I will start painting the side that has the little drawings on it, and I will give it 2 coats of paint. Here is what the 4 rounds look like. Now I'm gonna flip them over, and originally I wanted to leave them just brown, but I changed my mind and I painted them. I should have just left them alone. I'll tell you why. But now I'm adding the stencil, and I'm going to start painting this yellow. I will be doing 2 yellow and 2 lime green ones. Okay, let me tell you about my troubles with these. So I came to the conclusion that acrylic white paint does not do well with stencils that are sticky, because once I peel them off, the paint comes right off, and I don't like that. So I probably won't be using that. If I will be doing stencils, I will be using chalk paint, because that never happens with chalk paint. So basically I ran into some problems like that. As you can see, the lime green one at the bottom right there on the table looks peeled on one side, so I kind of had to go in there and fix it. But this one, the paint was still wet, so I was able to peel it off completely fine and it worked. But anyway, this completes these 4 coasters. Here is a picture of the end result. I love these. I think they are super cute and they only cost me $1 a piece. For my next DIY, I'm taking this wooden piece I picked up from Dollar Tree that I thought it was $3, and I thought $3 was already expensive, but I came to realize when I was doing this project that I paid $5 for this. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I don't know how worth that is, but you decide that. I love how this sign turns out. Now I'm going to take my Ivory chalk paint and I'm going to be painting the top of this and the edge. Now this has like layers on the side. I think that's what they're called, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm gonna be skipping one of the layers and painting that middle layer into green color, and I mixed 2 different greens to create this color just because I wanted it a little lighter but not too light, and those are the only greens I had, so I had to mix them. But yeah, I really love how this looks. As you can see, I got a little bit of the green paint on where I had already painted with the ivory color, so I do have to go back in there with a smaller brush and fix that. Okay, so here is what it looks like once it's dried, and I printed this with my best friend's Cricut machine, and it says Farmers Market Fresh Lemons, and I love it. So I'm going to be applying this vinyl on this sign, and again, feel free to use stickers from Dollar Tree. They also have the rub-on stickers now. But I just happen to have this already, so I you know, printed it, and there we have it. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now it's time to just give the last touch on this. So I will be creating a little bow with some of this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, and it's going to be a really simple bow. As you can see, I tie it how you would tie your shoes, and I trim the edges into a dovetail. And once I had my little bow ready, I created this other little bow with this lemon ribbon from Dollar Tree as well, and I just glue it right on top. And then I had this greenery that I just placed there, and it happens to have that yellow color already, which I love. And then I glue the bow right on top. And now all you have left to do is to create a hanger if you're going to be hanging this. And here is the end result. I love how this turned out. Definitely one of my favorites, even though it was $5. For my last DIY, I picked up this from Hobby Lobby, and it's a pack of 10 ovals, wooden ovals. It was only $3, so it was a good deal. I'm also going to be using yellow paint and some greenery, or I guess some leaves. And I'm going to start with the ovals. I'm going to paint them all completely in yellow, and this is yellow chalk paint. I will be painting front and back. Okay, now I played a little bit with these because to me they were looking more like eggs than lemons. So I decided to take some chalk brown paint and create like a little C at the bottom. And I felt like that gave them a little bit more dimension. And then I also went in with my antique wax and distressed the edges. And I love them, and they look to me like lemons now. Before I forget to mention, this sign was inspired by Hobby Lobby. They have one and it looked really pretty, and I wanted to recreate it. So here we are. Now, as you can see, I cut out some letters with the Cricut machine, and it spells lemonade. Now I'm going to take these flowers, I think that's what they are, I don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna be using the leaves from this in the stems. So I cut these longer pieces and fold them into halves, and then I'm gonna be using that for the stems of this lemons. And I placed the letters, or I guess the lemons, how I wanted them to go, and I started gluing them. This is very similar to what Hobby Lobby had on their, or how they have them placed in their sign. So I kind of just follow that to get inspired, and this is what it's looking like. Now it's time to glue the stems into these, and as you can see, I'm using these leaves, and I use the same stems to create another stem. I know I'm saying that a lot, but as you can see, I cut these leaves, I separate them, and then I take another piece of wire or, you know, stem, and I glue that in between the leaves. And then once I glue those those three pieces together, I will glue them onto the stem for the lemon. As a last step, all that's left is to create a hanger, and I'm using rope for that. I will be gluing this into place. This sign is not heavy at all, so this should be okay. And yeah, that completes this project, and here is the end result. I love how this sign turned out. All of them were my favorite, cannot pick one, but you let me know in the comments down below which one was your favorite lemon DIY today. Don't forget to check out Meagan's channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join this creative squad. Give my video a thumbs up because it really helps my channel, and I will see you on my next DIY. Bye!